So you just signed up for an irrigationcheckups.com account and you're ready to set up the account so that you can start performing checkups. First thing we're going to want to do is go to My Account Settings. So we can use this red tile here on the main dashboard, or we can use the support from the navigation dropdown at the top and click My Account. We'll first start on the My Profile tab. You'll want to ensure that your name is spelled correctly. This will be displayed at the top of any reports as the person that performed the checkup. This would only be for checkups that are assigned to you. Below this, we have the email associated with the subscription. Please note this is not shared with your clients. The company email that is in the next is what is shared. And then if your state requires a license number, such as Texas for irrigators or a plumbing license, you can enter in your license number here. Just make sure you press the Save Updated User Info when you're done making changes. Also in this tab, there's a quick snapshot of your current subscription status, kind of what your role is, and other information. The next tab is the Company Configuration tab. So this is the information that will primarily be shown at the top of any reports that you send or quotes. So we have company name. You'll want to enter that in correctly. Your contact address and phone number. Again, this is shown on reports that you may share with your customers. You can optionally enter in a phone number, and then any sort of public-facing email that you want on the reports. You also have an option to enter in an internal company email that the app uses to send notifications of checkups or quotes through the app. So your users can send a notification to this internal company email. You also have the option to upload your company logo. So you can click this drop logo box and enter in and find the file for your logo, and it will upload and replace any existing logo that you have. So you can do it until it looks correctly. Below this, we have report footer text that you can enter. This will be displayed at the very bottom of all reports. So for example, here in Texas, we have the TCEQ mandated language that has to be on all irrigation related forms and documents. You could enter that in here. You can configure on the quotes what the title is. So by default, it's going to be called a repair quote on that document. You can change it to repair estimate. You can change it to just irrigation quote or repair quote, whatever you want. You can enter that in here. That only changes what is shown on the PDF. It does not change what is shown in the actual app. And then you also have an option to add quote disclaimer text. So, something like this is not an estimate or this is an estimate and not a final invoice. And then there are three important configuration options at the very bottom here. We have the option to calculate taxes on quotes. So you'll want to check this if you do want the system to automatically calculate taxes. You can enter in a default tax rate for your company. Now, you also have the option, you can set this and also set a site-specific tax rate on your client sites. So if there's an area that has a special tax rate, you can update it there. But by default, if it doesn't have a site-specific rate, it would use this default. You have the option to disable the signature capture functionality. If you don't want to have your customers sign anything, you can click this to disable that, and that option will not be available. And then also an important one, some companies like to hide the price book information from their technicians. So if you do not want them to see what you're charging your customers, you'll want to click this to hide the prices. But just remember that you also need to set the report templates configuration to not show the quote on the report PDF, because if the quote's on the PDF, it's going to show prices. And so that is the next one tab we're going to visit, report templates. When you create a new account, you receive one default template. You can add as many as you want using this clone functionality, and you can rename this one and have them inactive by unchecking this active box. There are other videos and documentation on what all the different configuration options do. You know, what's special about the Irrigation Checkups app is there's lots of configuration available so that can meet your needs. So most of those options are right here at the top. So you're going to want to make those changes and click update. And then below this, we have the form fields that will be used during the checkup process. The top one is system information, so this would be very generalized information that you want captured, backflow information. And so for pumps and backflows and controllers, these fields are repeated every time you have a new, say, backflow. If you have 2 backflows, this will be repeated twice. If you have 5 controllers on the property, these questions will be repeated 5 times. And then obviously zone repairs. These are the callouts that will be available for every zone that you define on a site. And so again, there's other videos and documentation that can walk you through the specifics on how to set this up. But by default, you're given kind of a generic template that you can start with. We're going to skip over to the products tab. The products tab will be your listing of all things that you would want to put on a quote. At a very basic level, by default, you have labor and materials. So if you only wanted to quote generically a labor hourly amount and then a bulk materials amount, you could get started right away. You can also bulk update this list using this directions to import from a CSV file. Again, there's videos on exactly how to do that. And once you have your product listing in, you can then update your price books. So by default, you have a standard price book. If we go and edit that, you can see those 2 products are in there. You can determine if materials are taxable in your jurisdiction. You can make sure it's taxable. And then for a generic entry like just materials, you'll want to have this allow override available. And that means that your technician can manually enter in a price based on what materials are needed. Or you can add items from the products that you've added in the previous step. If we go back out to the price books main area, you can actually add a new price book. And you have this option to add all the products automatically. So you don't have to do it one by one. When you do that, you can also mark up the products if you have a cost value in each of the product definitions. So for example, you can mark up all products by 30%, and that will get you started much quickly. And then jumping over to custom pick lists, these are the values in various drop downs throughout the app. So we have checkup status. By default, you have new, incomplete, and completed. You can add as many statuses as needed to make your workflow make sense. So if you wanted to add a value here that said awaiting approval or inspection complete, quote open, whatever you want, you can add that in. Same thing with service reason. This is just helps filter. Once you have numerous checkups in the app, you'll likely at some point want to filter based on different reasons you went to a property. Quote status, just like checkup status, you can have as many quotes here to know where it is in the life cycle of the quote. And then landscape type and head type, these are used in your zone definitions. So you have 7 kind of default values here. You can remove some, you can add some. Same with heads. You know, maybe you don't like the rotary spray terminology, so you could delete that and just stick with MP rotator, whatever makes it easier for your text to understand. And then at the very end of my account, we have this bulk import tab. Again, there's videos on how to do this step, but this is the way to bulk import a listing of your client accounts with their contact information and property address information to get those client accounts and sites set up in the Irrigation Checkups app. And so just remember that the way the app is set up is you can have a client account with multiple sites or consider those properties. And you can also do it one-to-one. If you want to make every one of the properties that you visit an account, you can do that. Flexibility is there. And then once you have those sites set up and defined, you can then start adding controllers and zones, and you can do that in bulk if you have that information from maybe one of the controller manufacturer apps, or maybe you have it stored in Excel somewhere from previous inspections. But you can select the account once it's set up, select the site, and then if there is no controller set up, you actually have an option to add the controller right here and then upload the file. So from here, once you have your account configured the way you want it, you can just jump into going to new. If you did import clients, you can click existing and select from that existing list, or you can jump in by clicking new client, and you can then define this new client account from scratch and then go right into performing a checkup. So let's do that really quick just to show how easy it is. Let's just pick random addresses. No idea if this is an actual address. Looks like it is. So you can create notes. We can choose the price book. We can create the account. So now we have this account with the site here, and we can click this blue icon here to go in and see the details of this. We can also just go straight into performing a checkup. So let's say it's a repair visit. We have our repair checkup, create new checkup. And so here we are ready to perform this inspection. And so the first thing you may want to do is go down here and this plus assets that is pulsing, and you can add pump backflow or controller asset, and then start performing your checkup routine. And so this was kind of a quick version of how to get set up. And again, there is other videos. So if you click at the very bottom of every app page, you'll see the YouTube. That'll take you to a YouTube page. There is a playlist for account setup that has a number 5 videos. You can also look at the video list from latest to oldest to get a sense for how to specific. And then also at the bottom of the app under resources, we have documentation. And so here is the irrigation checkups documents page. Using the left hand navigation bar, you can see a lot of different information on how to get set up and use all the different functionality. So hopefully you found this video on how to get set up beneficial, and please let me know if you have any questions. I'm always available. You can reach me at ericp@irrigationcheckups.com. Thanks.